Jessie. Hope you're staying healthy and safe out there. Today we're going to be painting this painting here called Sunflower. Now it's a pretty straightforward painting, guys, but if there's anything you want to change about it, the colors or the shapes or anything, feel free to do so. This is your painting. I want you guys to have fun. So that being said, we've got a couple of supplies here that we should go over. We've got our palette here, you should have some paint, and we're going to be using every single color that we have provided. So that's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, brown, black, and white. We've also got this roll of 4 brushes that we're going to be using. So you've got the large flat brush, the medium flat brush, the medium round brush, and the detailed brush. And I'll be telling you which ones we're going to be using for every step. We've also got this cup full of water that you should have. This is great for, putting your brushes in for whenever you're not using them. Also great for washing off when you need to change colors. And then lastly, you've got this handy dandy little rag that's great for drying off your brushes once you wash them. So that being said, guys, since this is a video, feel free to pause it anytime you need the paint to dry, or if you just need to take a break, just pause the video, and then whenever you're ready to get back into it, you can unpause it. Alright guys, so this first step is super easy. We're just going to cover our entire background in one shade of light blue. So if you guys want to do a different color, you're absolutely free to do whatever color you want. I do recommend using a somewhat light color just because we're going to be painting white and yellow over top of it, so we want it to be able to show up and all that. So I'm going to be using a really light blue, like I said. So what I'm going to do is take my large flat brush, and I'm going to mix white and blue directly on my palette. And then you're just going to cover your entire canvas in this color. Now if you want to pull your paint a little bit farther, you can add a little bit of water to your color. That'll make it spread a lot more than if you just had paint. And don't worry if you can't get the same exact shade every time. Colors have variation, and you shouldn't worry about making it look super uniform. Alright guys, now that my entire canvas is covered, we want to take a break to let this dry so that we can put our petals on there starting when it dries. So feel free to pause this video, and then whenever you're ready to get started painting again, feel free to unpause it. Alright guys, once you've got your dry background here, we're going to go in and start building the shapes of our sunflower. We're going to start with the very center here, which is a mix of brown, yellow, and white. So I'm going to take my medium flat brush here, and I'm going to mix up brown, yellow, and some white here. So once you've got the color you like, you're going to find where the center of your canvas is. So I'm just going to say right about there, and then you're going to make a semicircle around that point. So I'm going to say, I like to start out small and then make it bigger. Again, because it's always easier to make things bigger, but it's not always easier to make something smaller once it's already on your canvas. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in that shape. I'm going to see if I like it. Might make it a bit bigger. And then you have the center of your sunflower. It doesn't have to be too big, because because that's not really the kind of the focus of the painting. The focus is more on all these wonderful colors that you have in your petals of your sunflower. So next, I'm just gonna put that in my water cup like that. And then I'm gonna take my medium round brush, and what we're gonna do is mix a light yellow. So I'm taking a lot of white, mixing that into my yellow. We're gonna build the petals of our sunflower. So how we're gonna do that is by like using points where they start and where they end, kind of making some lines and then filling them in. So I will show you that. So I'm gonna start with the very center one here. So I'm gonna say that, and then I'll have it end right before the end of the canvas. So I've got that, and then I'm just gonna make a straight line, relatively straight, so that I can know where that is gonna be. And then you're gonna do this with all of the rest of your paintings, or your petals. And so I'm gonna make some dots where I want the starts of those petals to be. And some of your petals are going to go off the canvas, and that is a-okay. But then I'm just going to decide where I want them to end. Right there. And then I'm doing the same thing, where I connect those with a line. It doesn't have to perfectly match up with your dots. This is just kind of to get an idea of where you want your petals to be. Now these last two are probably going to go off the canvas just a little bit, but don't worry about that. It'll make it look like it's, you know, a natural shape. There's more space over here, and it's just the frame that the canvas is holding. So now that I've got my lines here, it kind of looks like a weird sunburst. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill out those leaves. So I'm just gonna make, it's kind of like a leaf shape. It just gets wider towards the middle, and then it tapers out again once it comes to each end. Maybe like a long almond shape. It's also a good way to describe it. And again, your leaves all your petals don't have to all be the same shape or the same size, because as you know, flowers come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and that's just how things are. So I'm gonna do that with all of my petals, and for the ones touching each other, I kind of want to make sure that they just barely touch before coming away from each other again. So just kind of bumping edges there. Now for the petals that are coming off of the canvas, they're not going to come back to a point at the edge. So I'm just going to make the petals meet right here, and then it's just going to go off of the page like that. It's not going to come back to a point because the point is kind of a little bit over here. So just kind of imagine where you want those points to meet so you can take those lines off of the canvas. So once you've got all of your petals kind of built, we want to fill them all in with that same light yellow color. So feel free to keep using this brush, or if you want to switch to a larger brush so that it can be done faster, absolutely, that is up to you. I am going to actually switch to my medium flat brush just to make it go a little bit quicker. So I'm going to mix more of that color. And go ahead and fill in your petals. Okay guys, so now that you've got all of your petals here on your flower, we want to work on this kind of background layer of petals. Now these aren't going to show up as brightly as the ones in front, so what I'm going to do is I am going to switch to my medium round brush again. So what I'm going to do is just dip into pure yellow. Might have a little bit of white in it, but that's okay. And I'm just going to make these kind of background petals. There's little rounded triangles here behind. You can see how that just using yellow makes them a little bit more transparent, a little bit less bright, and that's what we want. We want them to look like they are behind our other petals. So you'll do the top portion, and then once you come down here, we're going to do another little rounded triangle that connects to the center of our flower. So you guys can do that in between each of your other petals. All right, now that we've got all of our petals here on our sunflower, we want to take a little break just to let all of this dry before adding on some more of these other colors here on there. So pause this video for about, 5-10 minutes, take a break, and then whenever you're ready to come back and start painting, you can unpause it. Alrighty guys, so now that this is all dry, we're going to go ahead and add in some of the really fun colors that are on our petals. So I'm going to grab my medium round brush again. And what I'm going to do is just dip into pure orange. And then we're going to add this kind of towards the bottom half of our petals. So I'm just going to use my brush, really soft, kind of streaky motions to add this color into each of our petals. And I kind of want it to be like a radial kind of shape. So I'm just making sure that I'm following the shape of my petals with my strokes. If you're worried about losing the shape of your petals once we put colors on them, do not worry, we're going to go back in with some more outlining those petals later. But for now, I'm just going to keep on adding this orange into each of my petals. And feel free to also add this color into the petals that are in the kind of the background. You can just add a little bit of orange peeking out from behind those other petals. Alright, so once I've got the orange in there, I can actually start to add some red. I'm not really going to wash my brush up because again, red and orange blend really well together. So I'm just going to dip right into red. And we're going to go ahead and add this on kind of above our orange, and you can overlap it a little bit to make it look like it's a nice little gradual change. But I'm going to use the same kind of strokes that I did before. Really sketchy, streaky strokes. And just like with the orange, you guys can add some of this color into the background of your other petals. So I can just go in on top and add a little bit of this red kind of poking out in my background petals. Now if you guys feel like you covered up your orange a little bit too much, feel absolutely free to go back in with your orange. just kind of pull that in a little bit more. I'm actually going to go back in with the orange just to blend those two colors together a bit better. Now the last thing we're going to be doing for this step is going back in and outlining our petals just so they can kind of be a little bit better separated like they were in the beginning. I'm going to wash my brush off. And I'm going to get a really, really light mixture of yellow. So I'm using mostly white. And then I just added a little bit of yellow in there to get almost like just a super duper pale yellow. And all you're going to do here is just outline the edges of your petals. And feel free to add a little bit of this really light yellow at the bottom of them too, just to kind of lighten it up. So yep, just outlining your petals, adding a bit of separation and brightness to them. Now you can feel free to add this to your background petals as well. I'm probably going to do a less bright version of that yellow. So I'm just going to add a little bit more yellow to my pale yellow mix. So I'm just going to really lightly outline those as well. All right. So while we're letting this dry, we can go back and work on the center of our flower. So what I'm going to do is wash off my brush. And you can see we've got several different colors here in the center of our flower. I'm going to start off with this light brown. So what I'll do is just mix some brown and some white together. And I'll sort of kind of dapple this in a ring around the center of my flower. Once you've got that, you can go ahead and add a little bit of green to the center of our flower. So I'm just gonna I washed my brush off, I'm just gonna take some pure green and add that to the center. And then I'm also going to take some yellow. So I'm going to mix up some more of that light yellow using yellow and white. And I'm just going to dapple this kind of in between where my green and my light brown are. The last thing we need to do for the center of our flower is kind of darken the edge around it. So I'm going to take the same brush, washing it off, and then I'm just going to take some brown and a little bit of black, mix them together on my palette. Just like that, I've got my dark brown, and I'm going to add this to the edge of our sunflower center. And feel free to make it a little like wobbly as you're going around. You kind of add it around the bottoms of your petals to make it look like the petals are growing out of the center of your sunflower. And then I'll just kind of dapple it towards the center to make it look like it's getting lighter. And if you want, you can go back in with any of the other colors you used for the center and kind of overlap them. I might go in with my lighter brown, just kind of add it a little bit around the outside, just to blend it in a little bit more. Now at this point, we want to take another short break just to let all this dry before we add the finishing colors and details of our flower here. Alrighty guys, so once your red and orange and your outlines have all dried, we're gonna go in and add some of these purples that we've got here towards the top of our flowers. So we're gonna start with the darker purple. So I've got my medium round brush once more, and I'm gonna take mostly red, and I'll grab just a little bit of blue to get kind of a red-violet color. All right, so once you've got that color, you can see there's only a few streaks of that here, so I'm gonna be a little bit sparing with it, but we're just gonna add it kind of where the red sort of ends. So I'm just gonna add some streaks of this here. I'm varying how long they are, how thick they are, and where they kind of fall on my leaves. And you can kind of double them up, you can overlap them, add as many as you like. I really like this color, so I'm probably gonna add a little bit more than the original, but you do you guys. So I'm just gonna add this on each of the petals. And you can add it in the back petals as well, just a little bit. Alright, now that I've got the dark purple, I'm going to go in and add this much light purple that we've got. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm using the same color that I had before. I'm just going to add a lot of white to it to get basically a lighter version of that color. We might add a little bit more blue to that as well, just to get a kind of purple that you really like. If you've got a purple that you like, go ahead and add kind of the same idea. We're adding this on top of that dark purple. Just make sure that you still have some of it showing. We want to see all of the colors that we have added here to our sunflower. I'm just going to add a few streaks of this here and there. Adds a little bit of a bright pop of color. All right, now that I've got that color in there, our last step is just to go over all of this light yellow that we did before and add some pure yellow on top of that. Just to make it a little bit more true to the yellow that we have. And that is the official last step here in our painting. There is one last kind of unofficial step that I like to do, and that is to sign your painting. So I've got my little detail brush here, and then any color really works, but I like to use either black or white. Kind of works the best, so I'm just gonna take some pure white, and I'm just gonna put my initials down in the bottom corner here. And then it's done. So guys, I hope you had a lot of fun today. I hope you learned something and you come away with a beautiful sunflower painting. But stay safe out there, and again, I hope you guys had a lot of fun, and join us again some other time for some more painting.